A comprehensive cyber attack to a major cyber attack.
Other side of the wall for you. USA! USA! USA!
Greetings, spear beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race. Our common enemy is death. Welcome on Play. I'm Ork Hofman, and this is the broadcast. Triad KillNet cyber attack on European banking system. Withdraw your savings now. Ian Miles Chong at Still Grey on Twitter reported about this. So, though I'm totally against it, sorry about the bad mic quality, I will work on that. Anyway, first I want to mention that it's criminal to do this, and probably Luciferian intel agencies are behind this, of course. We can look at the comprehensive list of cyber attacks that the Triad or KillNet already have done. Let's first switch to the Opera browser. First I'm going to show you the video. I don't know if you already saw it. And the wiki article about KillNet. So this way it should be visible. Switch to the wiki article. Okay, here it is. So, KillNet is a pro-Russia hacker group, they claim. Wikipedia, CIA Vatican edited encyclopedia. Known for its DOS, denial of service, and DDoS, distributed denial of service attacks towards government institutions and private companies in several countries during the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. The group is thought to have been formed sometime around March 2022. The attacks they have done are Romania, Moldova, Czech Republic and Italy. Attack on Eurovision 2022, Lithuania, Norway, Latvia, also the United States. Lockheed Martin. And they want us to believe that little cyber attack group can do these attacks and get away with it. Japan, Georgia and Germany. So we could read that as well, but let's just start with that video. And they've also attacked hospitals and the airport airlines. So this mic should be better. And I'm gonna switch on video now. Work, yep, there it is. And this is originally posted on this version is of Twitter basically. So let's just first watch the video.
We are Anonymous Sudan. Today, we are a direct threat to all European banks. European banks, you will soon be witnessing the most powerful cyber attack in the recent history of the world. Be prepared, because when we strike, it will be too late to make amends. Many European banks will be targeted and we will hit without mercy.
world has gone mad. The reason for this is money. If God rules Russia, then who rules Europe? That's right, the banking system. No money, no problem. Revel is sufficiently familiar with the European financial infrastructure. See you soon.
This is not a DDoS attack. Games are over. We call on all active groups to engage in destructive activities against the European banking system. No money, no weapons, no Kiev regime. This is the formula for the death of Nazism, and it will work. Within 48 hours we are launching this global company. Nothing will save you, and this is not a warning. I am just informing you. You have never seen such problems before. We are KillNet.
The death of Nazism. Let's put it a little bit further. And get my mic, my camera to work. Okay, death of Nazism. So it's clear that Putin attacked the Ukraine. They already invaded and annexed part of the Ukraine, Crimea in 2014. Ukraine did not attack Russia. That's one, and of course that's imperialism, invading another sovereign state, and the previous person to do that was Adolf Hitler. Illegal wars in the Middle East were not invasions with the goal to annex these countries. They didn't intend to make the USA out of Iraq and all these other countries, where they also used depleted uranium, on which we should have a moratorium, obviously. What we need is moralization, stabilization, generating economic surge, and demilitarization, and they're doing the opposite. 4 phases of ideological subversion, active measures, and phase 4 normalization, and the things we're in the new normal. So we have to prevent this by whatever means necessary, the cyber attack. And so the idea is I can study a bit. Perhaps there are people that would write something in the chat if anybody's watching this, which I doubt. So let's see. Wiki article. Okay. I can show you the original Twitter message. Twitter.com/stillgray. 16 hours ago, Russian hacktivist Triad threatens to paralyze European banking system, with a link to rebelnews.com. It's this article. This is the formula for the death of Nazism, and it will work. And Russia has a reserved internet. BBC reported about it, an intranet. And I've reported how easy it is to make the cyber attack impossible by disabling Intel Management Engine. I don't know if this is going to be the main cyber attack on the global financial system, internet, and power supply. I saw some other videos on Twitter. EX Underground. Here is footage released by R-Evil, KillNet, R-Evil, and Anonymous Sudan, supposedly. So these can all be people with masks on. They're not even using their own voice. They're using a text-to-speech engine, and they can all be intelligence agencies, Mossad, CIA, NSA, etc., under the leadership of the Jesuit military order, who might be behind this push for a new world order And of course, Klaus Schwab, the genocide web for Putin, a young global leader. Since when did our evil ransomware group go on camera and publicly disclose the plans prior to attack? And why is our evil wearing a Slipknot mask? So what we can do is read this rebelnews.com article. Let's copy all the text and then I can read it with the text-to-speech engine. Oh, it's not very lengthy.
Russian hacktivist Triad threatens to paralyze European. Russian hacktivist Triad threatens to paralyze European banking system. This is not a DOS attack, the games are over. We call on all active groups to engage in destructive activity against the European banking system, KillNet cautioned. No money, no weapons, no Kiev regime. This is the formula for the death of Nazism and it will work. By Ian Miles Cheong, June 15, 2023. News. Russian hacktivist Triad threatens to paralyze European banking system. Pixabay hacktivist groups KillNet, Anonymous Sudan, and Revol have sent shockwaves across the cyber world with a video declaring their intention to disable the entire European banking system. Reports suggest that KillNet's leader has already initiated the preparations and a cyber onslaught is imminent. CyberKno, a cyber threat tracking platform, has echoed the possibility of such attacks, highlighting the formidable alliance of the three hacker groups for this campaign. Their speculated first move could be to freeze the SWIFT payment system, a critical backbone for global money transfers. In a video showcasing the three groups, they presented warnings and elaborated on their motivations for initiating such a high-stakes attack. KillNet cautioned, "This is not a DOS attack, the games are over. We call on all active groups to engage in destructive activity against the European banking system. No money, no weapons, no Kiev regime. This is the formula for the death of Nazism and it will work." They further noted the unprecedented magnitude of the looming problems. Meanwhile, Anonymous Sudan escalated the rhetoric, branding the projected attack as the most potent in recent global history, and cautioned that the severity of this strike will be unparalleled.
The death of Nazism. Well, we can also find Nazi groups in Russia, not just in Ukraine. And of course, Putin, Zelensky, and Biden are all Jesuit coadjutors, like I've covered in previous broadcasts, and the Jesuits of the Reichskonkordat with the Nazis. And of course, you will or nothing, the quote prediction unquote of the genocidal web world economy destroying forum. That socialism, communism, people owning nothing, and the state with the people who call themselves New World Order or whatever, owning everything and renting it back to their slaves, creating an unprecedented crisis, cutting people off from food, energy, money, and armoring FEMA, basically. But they want to do this globally, and they've exercised the cyber attack on the global financial system in internet in Israel with 10 countries, including Switzerland, Netherlands, the US, and Israel, of course. And I've covered that as well. It was covered by socialworld.ca, so that was their cyber attack on the global financial system attack. So it's not just on Europe. And I'm for making that impossible. I've covered this in previous broadcasts. But the attack will mainly involve cyber attack on the global financial system. That's the main target. The bankers would make trillions from it. So the main point is tell everybody to withdraw their savings. Get your money out of the bank before they do this, because the bank servers are gone and the hard disks are erased. If they're using that Intel Management Engine hardware backdoor, Israel's Unit 8200 Talpiot program hardware backdoor version of Linux called Minix 3. And some think it will be orchestrated from Israel, and they will want to blame, they're going to blame Putin and Russia. So that's what I'm calling at the moment about this stuff. But I've done previous broadcasts, so you can check them for more in-depth info about it hardware backdoor and all computers that they can use to destroy these computers beyond repair and erase their hard disks, which they call a kill switch. And they can at least pull the internet cable, Ethernet cable, out of the computers of our power supply. They call it group speed control only mode, so that it cannot be affected by the cyber attack announced by Joe Biden a year ago, which I've also published about in this channel Play on YouTube. And another YouTuber has also shown a video of Joe Biden saying it's coming about this cyber attack. And of course, the webhead cyber polygon. And why is it genocidal? Because, of course, it would kill millions of people. It would create an unprecedented crisis when the global financial system is down. People cannot buy food anymore, can't buy water and other drinks anymore, unless they have cash. So withdraw all your savings now so you have cash and buy storable food and especially water, because the electrical pumps of our tap water supply won't function anymore after a cyber attack on power supply. We are without tap water, without refrigerator, and without our thermostats. So I doubt if they're going to do that cyber attack already tomorrow. I hope not, of course. But according to many sources, it's going to happen, and their impressive list of already perpetrated illegal cyber attacks makes clear that they have the capability somehow, and that they haven't been caught yet. So how is it possible they can get away with this? I wonder.
When we strike, it will be too late to make amends. On June 15, CNN reported an expansive global cyber attack on U.S. government agencies, though it remains unconfirmed whether Russia-based hacking groups were behind this assault. The current situation remains clouded with uncertainty. Whether these ominous threats are merely bluffs, pranks, or harbingers of a significant upcoming attack is unclear. However, if the hacker Triad's plan materializes, the scenario could morph into a real-life equivalent of the television series, Mr. Robot. KillNet, inside the world's most prominent pro-Kremlin hacktivist.
So this is an article on securityboulevard.com. Let's read this. About KillNet.
KillNet, inside the world's most prominent pro-Kremlin hacktivist collective by Flashpoint on June 5, 2023 blogs. Blog KillNet, Inside the world's most prominent pro-Kremlin hacktivist collective, well-known Pro-Kremlin hacktivist group KillNet has been noted for its level of activity and ambition, especially since the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war. Share this. Flashpoint June 5, 2023. Table of Contents. Table of Contents. What is KillNet? A firmly pro-Kremlin collective. KillNet's structure. KillNet's modus operandi. Notable KillNet attacks. The future of KillNet. Identify and mitigate cyber risks with Flashpoint. Within the realm of digital warfare, the threat actor group known as KillNet has established itself as a high-visibility force. Emerging as one of the most active and ambitious pro-Kremlin hacktivist collectives, KillNet's volatility has intensified since the onset of Russia's invasion of Ukraine over a year ago. While KillNet demonstrates persistence, it is also notably fickle. The group constantly seeks new avenues for expansion, evolving their tactics, and capturing attention using what they proclaim as their army of cyber partisans and the pro-Kremlin media eager to deliver storylines that align with the narrative of the Russian government. Alongside their pursuit of financial gain, KillNet's notorious alignment with pro-Kremlin ideological motives has fueled their collective drive since the inception of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Understanding the inner workings of a prominent group like KillNet becomes vital for organizations aiming to grasp the broader cyber threat landscape. By unraveling the operations of KillNet, organizations can bolster their understanding and fortify their defenses against this evolving menace. What is KillNet? KillNet is a financially and ideologically motivated threat group, likely based in Russia, that has committed distributed denial of service, DOS, and data exfiltration attacks against Western entities and dark web markets.
KillNet sort of suggests killing the internet, like Extinction Rebellion suggests rebelling for instead of against extinction.
First emerging in October 2021, KillNet initially offered for-hire DOS attacks. Flashpoint observed the first ads posted by the group about its for-hire DOS service in January 2022 on various Russian-language illicit forums. Following Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine, however, the collective started conducting, threatening, and taking responsibility for attacks on networks in Ukraine and in countries seen as supporting Ukraine. The group openly pledged allegiance to Russia, particularly in the context of the war, and stated its disdain toward NATO and Western weapons shipments to Ukraine. Since February 2022, KillNet has targeted both state-owned and private websites and networks in countries that provide assistance to Ukraine or have supported sanctions against Russia, often following such a decision. The group's associates have also perpetrated hack and leak attacks against Ukrainian systems. The KillNet group identity. KillNet has a mostly negative image based on posts from threat actors in illicit communities. Accusations of corruption were made by the root or user DHL due to reports of steady transfers to KillNet's cryptocurrency wallets following the February invasion of Ukraine. On forums such as XSS and Breach forums, users referred to KillNet as a group of 10th grade school kids and a script kiddie Russian group, respectively. A member of the top-tier forum exploit even shared a database of alleged KillNet documents as a lesson. Despite media appearances on outlets like RT, KillNet's image in sophisticated cybercriminal circles remains unchanged. The users behind the group KillMilk, the founder and chief of KillNet, known as KillMilk, has been an active member of the forum root or since October 2021. According to their claims, KillMilk has been involved in various schemes since the age of 14, including extorting money from individuals they refer to as pedophiles online, although in context, the term can also refer to closeted gay men. They assert that they began launching attacks on foreign websites in 2019 but faced financial setbacks due to cryptocurrency losses. In November 2021, KillMilk started offering those services with an intensity of 200 gigabytes per second, indicating access to a botnet at that time. Officially, KillMilk departed from the group in late July 2022. However, they still maintain strong connections with KillNet, often sharing messages and providing guidance as the founder.
So they're claiming this will not be a DDoS attack this time. So when it says DOS, that's DDoS.
However, they still maintain strong connections with KillNet, often sharing messages and providing guidance as the founder. Blackside. In August 2022, the new leader of KillNet was identified as Blackside. Blackside was introduced as an administrator of the Russian hacker forum, likely the mid-tier-best hack form. It is claimed that Black Side possesses experience in cryptojacking and ransomware operations. However, as of February 2023, there is no verifiable evidence indicating a notable enhancement in the group's capabilities or level of sophistication, despite their claims of having executed several successful data exfiltration attacks. The group's founder, KillMilk, seems to control and direct the activities of KillNet. A firmly pro-Kremlin collective, KillNet considers the United States and U.S. entities as their primary adversaries and actively promotes data theft and disruptive attacks against them. The group declared cyber war on the governments of 10 countries, including the US, UK, and Ukraine, aiming to liquidate these governments while assuring no threat to ordinary citizens. Although no direct operational connection between KillNet and Russian state structures has been proven, their goals align with those of the Russian government. KillNet has sought support from the Russian Parliament, the State Duma, and potential links between the Kremlin and Russian cyber threat groups targeting Ukraine have been identified. The group
While assuring no threat to ordinary citizens, we read. Well, of course, it is a threat to them when there is no more global financial system, and they cannot buy or sell food anymore, and they cannot receive money anymore, etc. And that's a major problem, and then many people will die because of that. So that's not to be underestimated. It would create a crisis of unmatched proportion, basically. Especially if it's a cyber attack on the global financial system, internet, and power supply.
The group often reacts to the news cycle and targets countries designated as unfriendly or enemies by the pro-Kremlin Russian media. One of their main objectives is to shape domestic perceptions of Russia's position in the cyber warfare landscape, while also showcasing their DOS capabilities through media exposure and propaganda material. KillNet's structure: in an interview with the Russian news site Lenta, KillMilk claimed that the collective consists of roughly 4,500 people organized into various subgroups. While these subgroups operate independently, they occasionally coordinate their activities. KillNet has also claimed to have 280 members in the US, attributing an attack ongoing to their US colleagues. The core group of KillNet likely comprises members from a DOS for Hire group that emerged on the Root Tor forum in October 2021. Attack coordination occurs in real time through KillNet's Telegram channel, where they form and dissolve legions focusing on specific targets or countries. Since February 2022, KillNet has been actively engaging in recruitment efforts to expand its support base. In September 2022, for example, a representative from the group utilized a Telegram supergroup dedicated to KillNet for the purpose of recruiting new members. Their recruitment drive targeted individuals with diverse skill sets, including coders, network engineers, penetration testers, system administrators, and social engineers, indicating the group's desire to bolster their team with a range of expertise. Frequent restructuring, expanding, and shrinking. KillNet has undergone reorganizations, with divisions becoming inactive over time. While the DOS group Phoenix was previously associated with KillNet, it is now regarded as a separate but allied group. Divisions such as Mirai, Sakurajima and Zarya gained operational independence, with Zarya focusing on attacks against Ukrainian networks. Historically, the group Legion Cyber Intelligence had operational control over KillNet's subgroups, occasionally assigning them specific countries as targets. More recently, they have taken on an intel gathering functionality. KillNet has expanded its influence by integrating at least 14 smaller hacktivist groups, including Anonymous Russia, and establishing the KillNet Collective as an umbrella organization for pro-Kremlin hacktivist groups. Recommended reading: KillNet ostracizes leader of Anonymous Russia, adding new chapter to pro-Kremlin hacktivist drama. The group firmly denies any affiliation.
On the other hand, I don't want to exaggerate the consequences. They should just repair the damages. Of course, such a cyber attack is no reason to declare martial law and confiscate, steal everything we own. And it's easy to make that cyber attack impossible by disabling Intel Management Engine. And that's the only hardware backdoor. It's a separate operating system running next to the operating system you're running, whether it's Linux or Windows or some other operating system, doesn't matter. So the only way to make that cyber attack, kill switch cyber attack, impossible is by disabling Intel Management Engine. There are videos about this on YouTube. But it's pretty risky, so a technician could do that. They could also have the computers of our internet power supply and financial system replaced with computers that come with Intel Management Engine pre-disabled. System 76, Purism, and Dell can do that for governments. So making the cyber attack impossible is what they're supposed to do if they're Intel agents. They're not supposed to let it happen. They're supposed to protect and serve the American citizens against enemies, foreign and domestic. And, of course, Putin is an enemy in the sense of the Constitution. Such a cyber attack would lead to an unprecedented crisis and many deaths, so it needs to be prevented by whatever means necessary.
The group firmly denies any affiliation or financial support from state-backed entities, asserting that their funding comes from enthusiasts and patriots. However, assessments of the group indicate with high likelihood that the group also generates substantial income through their dose for hire services and potentially other sources, such as the sale of stolen data. Infinity Forum. In November 2022, KillNet launched the Infinity Forum to structure discussions and foster cooperation among pro-Kremlin hacktivist groups and financially motivated threat actors. The forum was intended to serve as both a platform for collaboration and a marketplace for cybercrime tools and stolen data, and in February 2023 it was announced by KillMilk that KillNet would be selling the forum. Black Skills. In March 2023, KillMilk announced the establishment of Black Skills, a private military hacking company. The move was seen as an attempt to rebrand and structure the group, inviting Russian government utilization while also engaging in cybercrime activities. The group's new identity seeks to establish a corporate image and attract clients for their cyber mercenary activities. In April it was announced that KillNet would be officially ending its hacktivist activities and rebranding as Black Skills. According to the group, it will continue attacking Western entities, but instead of doing so altruistically it will instead take orders from private and public entities for money. However, just weeks later KillNet called the move a mistake and retracted it. KillNet's modus operandi. KillNet employs a variety of methods in their operations, primarily focusing on DOS attacks. KillMilk, the group's founder, has claimed their capability to conduct massive 2.4 Tbps DOS attacks using a predominantly foreign botnet, with Russian devices comprising no more than 6%. In addition to DOS attacks, KillNet also takes credit for data exfiltration from targeted networks, including high-ranking officials' email inboxes and bank data. One tool used by KillNet is the CC attack, a publicly available attack script shared in their Telegram channel. This script, likely authored by an unrelated student in 2020, automates the use of open proxy servers and incorporates randomization techniques to evade signature-based solutions. The CC attack toolkit requires minimal expertise and offers 3 Layer 7 attack types: git flood, head flood, and post flood. It employs randomization of entities within HTTP requests, such as user agent, accept header, and post data. KillNet has also utilized several known DOS scripts, including Ordos, Blood, DOSRipper, GoldenEye, Husky, and MDOS, alongside their proprietary tools. A KillNet attack in action. One notable attack by KillNet was observed by the Italian Computer Security Incident Response Team, CSIRT, on May 30, 2022. Lasting over 10 hours, the attack peaked at 40 Gbps and consisted of 3 phases. The initial phase involved TCP/SYN, UDP, and TCP/SYN, ACK amplification attacks, along with DNS amplification and IP fragmentation attacks. The second phase mirrored the intensity of the first, featuring IP fragmentation attacks followed by the aforementioned attack types but without DNS amplification. The last and longest phase exhibited a lower frequency and alternated between volumetric attacks and state exhaustions. CSIRT identified specific techniques employed by KillNet during their attacks, including ICMP flood, IP fragmentation, TCP/SYN flood, TCP/RST flood, TCP/SYN, ACK, NTP flood, DNS amplification, and LDAT connectionless, CLAP, attacks. KillNet has also been observed using slow post-DOS attacks against Italian government sites, employing a continuous stream of incomplete HTTP requests to tie up server resources. Through honeypot servers and monitoring IP addresses associated with KillNet, researchers at Forest confirmed the group's preference for brute-forcing credentials on TCP ports 21, FTP, 80, HTTP, 443, HTTPS, and 22, SSH, as well as their use of SSH tunneling. The observed attacks included 381 instances from 58 IP addresses, with 56 of them being dictionary attacks targeting common default credentials. Forest noted that IP addresses not involved in dictionary attacks sustain their attacks for a maximum of 3 days, indicating varied goals associated with each IP address. During SSH sessions, the attackers attempted to create a proxy towards Google.com by establishing SSH tunnels. Targeted attacks on FTP ports suggested reconnaissance efforts, as the threat actors repeatedly used the syst command, which returns the system type. In December 2022, KillNet shared a script hosted on GitHub that encouraged its followers to deface websites, indicating their potential inclination towards such attacks. In January 2023, researchers at Radware identified the Passion botnet as one of the tools employed by KillNet in attacks against medical institutions. The botnet maintained a Telegram channel named Passion Botnet Chat, which was present in Flashpoint collections. After successfully executing an attack, KillNet frequently utilizes checkhost.net to verify and confirm the operation on their official Telegram channel. Notable KillNet attacks. KillNet has targeted numerous organizations and institutions, with heightened activity since February 2022. Attacks on medical institutions. KillNet initiated a widespread campaign
on medical institutions, not on the web.
Attacks on medical institutions. KillNet initiated a widespread campaign, collaborating with multiple hacktivist groups, to target healthcare institutions in Western countries, particularly the United States. The Phoenix Hacktivist group claimed responsibility for impacting 2 hospitals in the U.S. KillNet shared lists of hospitals' websites on their Telegram channel, calling for a massive attack on the U.S. healthcare system. Attack on Germany. KillNet spearheaded a DOS campaign against German websites after Germany's decision to send Leopard tanks to Ukraine. 16 pro-Kremlin hacktivist groups joined the attack, although its impact remained low. Attacks on dark web markets. KillNet played a role in an ongoing conflict between dark web markets following law enforcement takedowns of Hydra Market, a dominant Russian-run market. KillNet supported Huawei and attacked Rutor, a major forum allied with Omgong. The group justified its attacks on dark web markets as a stance against narcotics trade. However, financial
OMG is GMO backwards.
motivations and ideological justifications were all. However, financial motivations and ideological justifications were also identified. Attacks on European institutions. KillNet targeted the website of the European Parliament after the institution recognized Russia as a state sponsor of terrorism. The attack briefly made the Parliament's website unavailable. They also attacked Belgium's cybersecurity center after an investigation was opened against the group due to the attack on the European Parliament. Attacks on U.S. websites. KillNet has claimed responsibility for various attacks on U.S. government websites. They targeted the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, U.S. tax resources, government websites of several states, airports, including O'Hare International Airport, and a major U.S. bank. While these attacks caused visibility issues, they had limited impact on operations. Recommended reading: Advanced Persistent Threat, APT, Groups, What They Are and Where They Are Found. Attacks on Lithuania and the U.S. KillNet has conducted those attacks on Lithuanian government and private institutions. They demanded the reinstatement of transit routes between the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad and the rest of Russia. KillNet also threatened the U.S. energy and financial sectors, claiming they could conduct similar attacks in 5 U.S. states or European countries simultaneously. These notable attacks provide a glimpse into KillNet's activities, targeting various sectors and countries. The group's motivations range from geopolitical disputes and ideological justifications to financial interests and opposition against specific industries. The future of KillNet, despite its nationalistic agenda, has primarily been driven by financial motives, utilizing the eager support of the Russian pro-Kremlin media ecosystem to promote its dose-for-hire services. KillNet has also partnered with several botnet providers as well as the DNN Club, a partner threat group with which KillNet created Infinity Form, to target narcotics-focused darknet markets. While there is no evidence of KillNet acquiring more sophisticated tactics, their recent shift towards becoming paid cyber mercenaries raises concerns. This move could serve as a blueprint for other groups seeking to monetize their activities. Formerly associated groups like Phoenix, Occur, and Legion have already made clear strides towards cybercrime. Phoenix established a Telegram channel for advertising and selling unauthorized access and exfiltrated data, while Legion created its own private military hacking company. The extent of the connection between pro-Kremlin hacktivist groups and Russian security services remains uncertain and likely varies. Earlier reports from Mandiant linked Zaknet and the cyber army of Russia to Russian security services, suggesting that these groups acted as fronts for sharing illegally obtained information by state-backed entities. This arrangement allowed the groups to gain fame while providing plausible deniability for state actors. A more pronounced shift towards cybercrime could lead to state-backed groups using cyber mercenaries as proxies to probe the cyber defenses of Western organizations. The interest in such arrangements is evident, as demonstrated by ransomware attacks on Polish logistics companies in late 2022, attributed to Russian APT groups. KillNet has shown interest in such arrangements as long as they bring financial gains, indicating a future trajectory for the group. Identify and mitigate cyber risks with Flashpoint. Never miss a development across illicit communities and protect your assets, stakeholders, and infrastructure by identifying emerging vulnerabilities, security incidents, and ransomware attacks. Get a free trial today and see Flashpoint's extensive collections platform, deep web chatter, and dark web monitoring tools in action.
Okay, well, according to some sources, Anonymous is CIA. And how can they claim they're supposedly Russian when it's Anonymous Sudan, for example? So I have my doubts about these claims of their identity, And I wonder, isn't it only possible for intel agencies to do this? They're scanning people's brainwaves, obviously. So nobody is anonymous. Let's get back to the browser. I was searching on some images for this broadcast. But then it's better if I first do something else. Another interesting video to watch. Maybe this one, Code Red Alert, Unmasking KillNet, a Russian hacker group's European banking showdown. Jonathan Kogan, 1 day ago. And he has some interesting views on this subject as well. And people can check recent videos about this. These were all uploaded in the last day, 48 hours or so. Last 24 hours. KillNet European banking system. Alert, hacktivist groups threaten to take down European banking system in quote 48 hours in quotes. Jim Yackel, Storm Morning News. Biggest hack ever, ? And also on Twitter, you can search on this. And then we get all these people posting the video, etc. Swift, IBAN, SIPA, Wire, and WISE systems, including Swift, targeted supposedly better cyber on Twitter. 72 hours ago, 3 heads of hacker groups from Russia and Sudan held a regular meeting in the Darknet Parliament and came to a common decision. Solution number 0191. Today we are starting to impose sanctions on the European banking transfer systems that I've just mentioned. They claim to be KillNets. Well, I think it's disgusting because these bankers, some call them banksters, would make trillions from it and all people's savings would be gone and it wouldn't benefit the people at all. So they should arrest Putin. Putin should pull out his bloody troops out of the Ukraine to avoid a world war. And Zelensky should surrender if Putin doesn't do that to avoid World War III. So that's it for this broadcast basically. Perhaps I'll just brainstorm a little bit, see if there's anyone who watches this broadcast. 0 concurrent viewers, 0 likes. I've been streaming 46 minutes 19 seconds. Excellent connection. Alright. So let's try to add my other mic to this thing. Well, I'm not really seeing how to do that. So, sorry about the bad mic quality at the moment. I can switch back to the browser, then I'll get better mic quality again. We could also watch this video, but I don't know if that's allowed. Just watching another YouTuber video. But it is on topic, so we can watch part of this and then I can tell you what I think about it. So this should be better mic quality now, with the filters on it, etc. I'm using a cheap mic because I was forced to move and I want my new microphone that next. Let's switch to this mode.
One. Are we live? I think we're live. All right, here we go. Show. I'm your host, Johnny Petty. Let's get this podcast started. Let me clear my throat. Like 3 shows, including consecutively. The first one was on March 2nd, 2023, episode 161. You can go listen or watch episode 161, one of those popular episodes we ever did, labeled How WEF's Simulated Cyber Attack Could Impact You. Okay? That was the episode that we first talked about it. And then yesterday, we talked about it. We talked about it with the NASA warning and all this just crazy stuff coming in from everywhere. So, so here it is. This is I'm showing it on my screen. So if you're listening, you can't see it, but it's called Cyber Polygon. Again, episode 161. Go listen. So where do we start with this? So first, let's start with what exactly I'm talking about. So I'm going to play a video that they put out. Okay. I can't 100% verify this. So this is the first podcast. I'm going to say confidently that we're ahead of our skis on this one, that if we get this right, this podcast is going to break loose. This is going to be legendary if this is actually correct. This one is, we can't say this is 100% correct because I can't verify the message, but I'm relaying the message and you take it for what it is. Okay. Pro-Russian hacktivist group KillNet, Anonymous Sudan, and Revol announced their plans to take down the entire European banking system within the next 48 hours. This is today, okay? 6/14/2023. Quote, this is not a DDoS attack. The games are over. This is a quote. No money, no weapons, no Kiev regime. This is the formula for the death of Nazism, and it will work, close quote. And then continuing with a quote. Within 48 hours, we are launching this global company. Nothing will save you, and this is not a warning. I am just informing. You have never seen such problems before. Now, before I play their message, I want you to remember that we've been warned by President Biden about.
So Putin has most nukes, Xi Jinping has most troops. So sending weapons and sending weapons will only escalate the war, possibly into a world war, and it can only lead to more deaths. If Zelensky would surrender, then that would be the end of the war. No more Ukrainian and Russian soldiers would die, and it cannot escalate into a world war with mutually assured destruction, with nuclear weapons, nor a cyber world war, a cyber pandemic world war, which according to some is obviously their plan, to first steal everything the people own to be able to reduce the global population to 500 million. With gene drive mass extinction technology, 170 global groups want a moratorium on, or with some other nefarious method, extorting the people, using all kinds of illegal methods, a cyber attack. And they should prevent that, of course, but the biggest genocides were perpetrated by governments. And the Freemasons have their lodges all over the world, and then you have Bilderbergers and the Jesuit military order. Supposedly controls all these intel agencies, which are all Freemasonic, according or based on the illustration on Citizens Action Network on Facebook. So that was my point. There is no reason to continue the war unless they're after a world war. These Jesuit coadjutors, Zelensky, Putin, and Biden. And Zelensky refused to let the Ukrainian men, who are not even military, evacuate. They were separated from their children and wives. And of course they died in a bloodbath. And Zelensky and Putin, of course, were in damaged. They were not attacked, but innocent civilians and military, relatively innocent people are suffering under their regime, and they're not even allowed to evacuate. Come on, isn't that a war crime in and of itself? They weren't military. If they would have been military, then you could have said, yeah, then they have to fight, but they're not military. They were not military. And that can only lead to a bloodbath, and Putin has most nukes. So then how do they plan to, quote, win, unquote, this war? I'm for de-escalating it by whatever means necessary, creating universal peace. And a person has recently warned me about the peace sign. That's also the Mercedes sign. And Rolex watches also have that peace sign, a circle in 3 parts, basically, like 3 pies, 3 pieces of the pie, 3 pie pieces. That's ruin, death ruin, peace sign. Or actually, it's in 4 parts, right? 4 parts. So then it's not exactly the Mercedes. I'm beginning to doubt, is the peace sign in 3 or in 4 parts? Well, I'm rolling at the moment, so bear with me. I will turn on peace sign picture, if I can find it fast. Universal peace, okay. It must be in this picture show. Looking better than KillNet already. Is this my... Yep, working, okay. Well, I first have to roll. There's the peace sign, so it's 4 parts. I thought 3. So then it's not exactly the same as the Mercedes and what's the other thing, Rolex watches thing. My paper is ripped, so that makes it a bit more difficult. Not impossible. But I should use some other paper. So it would be really an indication that the intel agencies are involved if this happens. Because all these years we've never seen any major cyber attack that knocked out our power supply, internet, and the global financial system. And we've seen these exercises that are done before the real event happens every time, incidental events basically. Event 201, Monkey, or Mpox, NTI paper, and chances that they pick the correct virus for their exercises are less than 1 in a million. I have bad lighting also. Sorry about it. Let's turn off my VPN. And I think that because I also wrote the FBI and 18 politicians about making that cyber attack impossible by disabling the management engine, of course, without that they can't do it, they can destroy computers and their hard disk without that Intel management engine hardware backdoor, wherewith they have access to security levels of our computers that the consumers that run Windows don't even have. So it works with rings and levels of security, etc. I've covered it all in previous broadcasts. So ideas to make the cyber attack impossible so we don't lose our internet financial system and power supply are welcomed by the Skype ProLogic 999. And I already said the video was finished, so I'm just brainstorming if there's anything. Prepare with water, store water, perhaps in a bathtub or big canisters. There are videos on YouTube that show how to store water so it doesn't become spoiled too fast. Buy a water filter. You cannot drink rainwater without filtering it. And that's the main thing, because people can last about a day or 3 without water and a month without food. So they're going to need water more. Also, if they want to cook these wonderful emergency preparedness meals, prepper meals, they need water and fossil fuel, gas, natural gas, to cook their food, basically. So it would be a bummer if they have these meals to cook, but they don't have water and they don't have gas or some other fuel to burn to cook their food. It's an old picture show, but, it's still effective to promote universal peace instead of bloody war. And there are only 6 million Masons worldwide based on the David Spangler quote. They're going to exterminate all non-Masons. Non-Masons will not enter the quote New Age, unquote, according to Mr. David Spangler. So that's one potential risk group that's behind it all. Intel agencies that also control the police and military that are higher up the ladder of the chain of command. I mean, judges may also be Freemasons in on the carbon tax scam of Al Gore paid by George Soros. Recently I've linked that video that shows 32 climate predictions that have failed, that didn't come true. And, yeah, that has a lot of views also. So they're lying to us about a lot of things. In reality, there is no anthropogenic global warming, only natural warming and cooling. But now there are thousands of 5G Starlink satellites irradiating the Earth. Of course, that will lead to a temperature increase. The question is not if, but by how many degrees. And 40 of Elon Musk's 5G Starlink satellites have already burned up in the Earth's atmosphere, according to USA Today. And then there's the fact that 42 gigahertz microwave radiation exposure destroys neutrophils, the innate immune system. And an FCC document shows that the 5G VLEO satellites, Starlink satellites, VLEO, very low Earth orbit satellites, produce 42 gigahertz as well. So it could destroy people's neutrophils, and then they die from the common cold virus, for example. That's very common, most common, so that perhaps would be the first thing that kills them when their innate immune system is totally gone. And the common cold virus is the rhinovirus, that's an enterovirus. Some more about it in previous broadcasts as well. I think I can't say too much about it now. Here on YouTube. And it's proven by a PubMed Central study. And that's in mice. So then the question is, have they tested it on humans as well? Most probably they have the same results. And I can show the PubMed Central study again. I did broadcasts about it on other platforms because it wasn't any sense to. I'll look up the title of the study and I'm going to show it again. And it takes a while to find it in my collection of chat remarks and articles and links, etc. Because that's huge. Low intensity 42 GHz exposure suppresses phagocytic activity of peripheral blood neutrophils, in other words. That's research by Colo Mitseva and others 2002 described in the paper suppression of non-specific resistance of the body under the effect of extremely high frequency electromagnetic radiation of low intensity. So 42 gigahertz microwave radiation exposure does that even at low intensity, according to the study. Okay, well, we were watching that YouTube video, so let's continue that then.
This is from Axios. This is from February 3rd, 2023. Pro-Russian hacktivist group is only getting started. Experts warn, like getting you primed for the attack, right? We've seen a lot of this. Okay. This is from Insider Paper. It's been reported. It's actually reported from Reuters on June 12th. Just in, Americans should prepare for cyber sabotage. Chinese hackers are all but certain to disrupt American critical infrastructure, such as pipelines and railways. In the event of a conflict with the United States, a senior U.S. cybersecurity official said, Reuters reports. Okay. But I do want you to remember that Biden warned us. So I pulled up the clip, and this is from NBC News on YouTube. But this is a clip. Biden stumbles on his words here and there, but please listen to this before we play the video from the hackers. This is on, this is a minute 38 seconds. Okay. This was Biden. Take a listen. Listen closely. Okay.
Look, today my administration is issuing new warnings that based on evolving intelligence, Russia may be planning a cyber attack against us. And as I said, the magnitude of Russia's cyber capacity is fairly consequential, and it's coming. The federal government is doing its part to get ready. But under U.S. law, as you all remember, the private sector, all of you, largely decides the protections that you will or will not take in order to protect your sources. But let me be absolutely clear about something. It's not just in your interest that are at stake when there's potential use of cybersecurity. It is the national interest at stake. And I would respectfully suggest it's a patriotic obligation for you to invest as much as you can in making sure, and we will help in any way, that you have built up your technological capacity to deal with cyber attacks. First, to protect your own companies. Second, that provides critical, as providers of critical services that Americans rely on, from power to clean water. And finally, your role you can play in helping secure every American and every American's privacy.
So don't forget. Okay, the reason I showed you that clip is A, because he told you, and B, is because anytime we do something,
So I was just showing some illustrations. Jesuit military order, Freemasons, Bilderberg are the main groups involved in this population reduction, but also Committee of 300, which is the subversive body of the Club of Rome, and the population reduction NGOs, according to sources online. And preventing beats curing, and they've tried to turn it into selling beats curing.
Okay, they say it, and they say it for some legal reasons, so it's not like illegal. So there is a reason why they tell you to your face. Like, just remember the pipeline, okay, that was blown up, Russia's pipeline. Remember, you have.
Of course, they should have repaired it as well, and also, with all their tracking capabilities, they should be able to catch the perpetrators who did that, of course. But theoretically, if they're intel agencies, they're not going to get caught. They have code white, they can walk out of any police station no matter what they did.
Have Newland saying it's going to be blown up at the bottom of the sea. Biden says we'll take care of it, and they go, well, but it's in Germany's jurisdiction. How can you do it? And Biden goes, I promise we'll take care of it. They tell you, and then when you reference that after it occurs, they call you a conspiracy theorist. but really all you're doing is tying connecting the dots in an apolitical way. And it's just facts. Okay. This is just facts. We're not on anyone's side. We are just pro all humans, all peasants, all of Earth, everything. We have no biases. We just bring you stuff that you're not hearing.
Well, it's interesting to hear that people above all, that's what I'm for whatever is best for the 100% of the people on our planet, for everyone, the elite, non-elites. And I've already explained how the carbon tax scam is killing all non-elite members, all middle and lower income group people, because the higher energy price is driving up the price of everything. And no farmers means no food. Farmers and truckers Truckers and farmers are essential, politicians are not, because no farmers means no food. And I've shown these studies that make clear that the supposedly edible insects contain parasites. 80% of these insects from supposedly edible insect farms contain parasites, according to the study, 30% of which are potentially pathogenic parasites that make people sick. And it's a scientific study. I've covered it in previous broadcasts, so I'm not going to show repetitive content, etc. Check my previous broadcasts. I think it must be in there somewhere.
Deeply affect your life. And I've said it before on at the World Economic Forum this past year. They took a survey of their experts, whatever that means. 89% expect a catastrophic cyber attack within the next 2 years. And this might have been 2 years ago, that WEF, but I played on a previous podcast. And then another thing that happened was Klaus Schwab said on camera, I played this video as well. He goes, just imagine if there was a cyber attack that brought down the whole grid, all the power. It would make, the pandemic look like a little blip. Okay. So they're all these sources are on camera. All right. And you just heard Biden. Now, I can't believe this came out. This is unbelievable. I mean, this is just like, if this happens, then this podcast is next level. The whole European banking system. Anyways, this is from Politico. All right. Biden.
So if they're really going to do it this way, then why would they announce that in a video, basically? Well, to make people believe that it's done by Russian cyber attackers or whatever, instead of the intel agencies or other groups. I'm thinking about it. But that's just theory, of course. And perhaps they can secure parts of their system by decoupling it from the internet. That's an idea. If this takes place tomorrow, then between 10 and 11 o'clock or something, based on a picture that I saw with eyes that indicated it can also be 10 or 11 at night, between 10 and 12 or something like that. But that's totally guess. So withdraw your money. We cannot make it impossible. If we cannot make the cyber attack impossible, then it's best. And also, I was wondering in the kitchen, why hasn't the government told us to take our money out of our bank account, when Joe Biden has already said it's coming, this cyber attack? They're not doing anything to make it impossible, and they're not telling people to withdraw their money, to only pay cash and get fossil fuels. Some call it the new currency. The prices are tremendous, going up. So that's a way to make tons of money, or carbon credits.
Cyber attacks coming. The president.
You could argue it's the same thing because you can buy carbon credits already, of course. And then isn't that system gone as well? And the internet power supply and global financial system are gone. So how do they plan to introduce their new CBDC, central bank digital currency, universal basic income that's gone after a solar storm EMP? They'd need computers and power supply, etc. for that.
Needs to immediately harden defenses against potential Russian cyber attacks. Okay, so he's also testing the private sector for the public-private partnerships. So it's a way to send messages to everyone, with like a press because the peasants.
And of course, it's insane to, after a cyber attack, though they might pretend it's all safe right now, and they've done many things to make it safe for everybody, to protect the financial system, to deal with cyber attacks, etc. I bet they've sold tons of software and stuff. Banks, internet, and power supply computers. Don't they have any type of protection? They must have a firewall, of course. So the point is, after a cyber attack wipes out all virtual money, then the most insane thing to do is getting rid of cash as well. We need a cash society for emergencies, also after a big solar storm EMP. The virtual money would be gone unless they are EMP, electromagnetic pulse protected servers. So it's totally criminal and genocidal and undemocratic. And of course it's treason and mass murder. They're pursuing an illegal population reduction agenda. So yeah, I think the government is supposed to tell us to take our money out of our bank account and prepare for a possible cyber attack, because Joe Biden already announced that it is coming. And they are supposed to take steps to make it impossible. And it's a lot easier now. And they're supposed to repair it immediately, not to declare martial law, to let it happen, declare martial law and steal everything we own, all our rightful possessions. And if they try, well, after that, it's still ours and not theirs. So that's all illegal, nefarious, premeditated mass murder and treason, pursuing a forced industrial revolution with a foreign body in Davos, Switzerland, getting rid of democracy, young global leaders, etc., making everybody own nothing. That's not what the people want. It's totally undemocratic. And of course, it's corporate fascism and eco-fascism. The people owning nothing, and then the group of people that calls itself the state renting it back to the people. So the Nazis were socialists and not Republicans nor Democrats. And socialism is a precursor of communism. And it's treason, because it's not what the people want. It's robbing them and genocide, mass murder. Because most people cannot afford a heat pump, a Tesla car and robots, etc. So why is it mass murder? Well, when people cannot buy food and water anymore, and their pumps of their tap water don't work anymore, no more refrigerator, no more thermostats, then many people will die from that. That's simply a fact. It's a simple fact. So all these people involved in it should be arrested and replaced with competent individuals. They should be neutralized.
So whatever, we don't need to listen to this, but they do say things to signal to each other from afar. So anyways, now let's play the message from this hack group. But before we do that, they post it. So this was posted in their Telegram channel. Now I got this secondhand, so I didn't pull this from the source. And I always bring you the source unless I can't. So that's why this is the first podcast that's secondhand. Okay, that's why I can't guarantee it. I can't say anything like that. I can only just relay it to you because it's interesting. And if it happens, then wow. Okay, so this was the post. Russian hackers announced a massive attack on the Western financial system within the next 48 hours. The first task is to paralyze SWIFT. According to our information, guys from the KillNet, Revel, and anonymous Sudan groups have united in this campaign. They plan to, quote, repel the maniacs according to the formula. No money, no weapons, no Kiev regime, referring to Ukraine. Among the targets, European and U.S. banks, SWIFT, and the U.S. Federal Reserve System, analogs to our central bank. For reference, Revel is one of the most active hackers in the world. The guys have been known for stealing future Apple product plans, hacking local governments in Texas, and attacking the world's largest meat supplier, JBS.
I think it also wouldn't work because they have tons of gold. They do business in gold bullion, and they're not using that financial system. They know that cyber attack is coming up, so the people doing it don't have money in their bank account. They have gold, and who knows how they protect their assets and their money, etc. And I think it's better to get storable food, suitable weapons, also for possible invasion. Or a zombie apocalypse, that's another thing they've exercised. And we see these exercises first all the time. And this is another interesting list about terror drills that went live, etc. So people would have to verify that for themselves. I'm not claiming that it's all 100% truthful and accurate. And the source is mentioned on it, Citizens Action Network on Facebook.
No work with the guys from KillNet who broke in August last year. Okay. Now, when things are now, could this be a Russian group? Absolutely, 100%. But if we've learned anything, it seems the way the patterns have been, and what the
it could be a Russian group, but it could also be an American group or an Israeli group, or who knows what country these people are from. When we cannot hear the voice and they're using text-to-speech engines, they can be from any country, any intel agency, and they can even be people of the Microsoft team itself, or as far as we can tell. We can't tell that they are or aren't. So that's one of the sinister things about is that they have their posts online, etc., and they cannot be caught or something. How should I see this?
Facts actually are of these prior events that we've called on this podcast that have actually happened.
So then, if they'd orchestrated from Israel, Unit 8200, etc., Israel's Talpid program, they can use a VPN and make it look like Putin pushed his kill switch cyber attack button and then it all happened or something, in hindsight perhaps, or whatever. But it could be any group behind this, and the bankers think tanks may have more to do with this, because we'd have to always ask ourselves, cui bono with this type of thing, who benefits follow the money, and the bankers would make trillions if they're never going to pay back the money to all these people whose savings are totally gone after this cyber attack. So I'm for preventing the cyber attack, making it impossible by disabling Intel Management Engine, pulling the internet cable out of the computers of our power supply. And they should have done that by now because it was announced by Joe Biden, and just simply making laws so that global gene drive genocide becomes an impossibility.
It always seems to be, so far, it doesn't mean it'll stay this way, is the U.S. government is really, okay? The U.S. government and people tied to the WEF. That's been the case so far. So the elites, that's how we say it on this podcast. And so it could be an attack from our own security state, just like, you know, the incredible propaganda the last 3 years, the just incredible psychological warfare that's been going on.
Perhaps a better term to use is oligarchs and the establishment, because most elites may not be part of these secret societies. Abolishing the secret societies, then we're there basically, but how could that be achieved?
The mask is off. It's been off. I don't know what else to say. You know, we have, you know, listen, this is not, I don't agree with any.
Well, outlawing them, making them exist, making it illegal for them to exist, to be part of a secret society, is one thing governments could do. But perhaps it takes first horrible things happening before people do that, and they have tribunals and stuff.
Any political party, you know that, okay? All I'm saying is jailing the leading candidate of the opposite political party is not a good look. Not a good look, especially when there's people in that same political party that may have had the same situation of taking documents when they shouldn't have. And actually, in those cases, they were not the president, whereas this one was the president. Now, I'm not defending it, but I'm saying it. If you're just objective and apolitical, it looks like.
I do not accept any WEF politicians or leaders as politicians and leaders, so I don't accept Biden, Charles, and Willem-Alexander as kings or presidents, etc. They're guilty of treason, and they should be replaced with competent individuals immediately to save the maximum number of human lives and create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally, not just a handful of establishment oligarchs.
Political prosecution. It just looks like it, okay? And all the other things and decisions that have been made the last couple of years has seen very rocky and a lot of friction and not in the best interest of the U.S. for whatever reason, okay? You know, all the crime, the amount of human trafficking and kids being trafficked at the border, the amount of fentanyl coming, all this stuff. I mean, it's crazy. The economy is, you know, teetering for sure. It doesn't seem like things are being done to lift up the United States for whatever reason. Okay. So, and that's not a political statement because I'm apolitical. I'm just telling you.
As long as they continue with their carbon tax scam, their illegal climate laws, problems will continue to arise, and the problem will only get bigger. And more people will die from their genocidal measures, and a handful of people enriches themselves. He also covered the CEOs leaving. A record number of 219 CEOs left a while ago, and now that number is even higher in this video later on, but I'm not going to play the whole thing, just the part about cyber attack. So let's listen for a while longer.
Objectively, I don't know why people can't accept just the objective facts of a situation. They tie it to one political party. No. We just talk about objective facts. Very, very basic. All right. Now, I want to stop talking and I'm going to play their message secondhand. But if this is real, and last thing I want to say is, you know that the banks are in big trouble. We've covered that in detail. They could be trillions of dollars in debt because they had long-term bonds and then the interest rates just shot through the roof. So it devalued them.
Wouldn't it be magnificent for them if their debts would be gone with one push of the kill switch cyber attack button?
Hold on. And so we know the banks are in trouble, so it would be, it would be us potentially attacking the own banks, so then they can blame the Russians for the financial collapse and bringing in CBDCs. We've covered all these plans in detail, so I don't want to talk about it too much if you've been listening for a while. Otherwise, go listen to the previous CBDC episodes, the cyber attack episodes. You'll be really informed about what these situations that I mean, where we know that this is all a cover for an economic collapse. The whole monetary system is broken. It's done. Okay. And if you got to bring it down, why not have a cyber attack that is your foreign adversary that you want World War III with, right? So instead of having the banks collapse and your leaders are in trouble, you'd rather point at Putin or Xi Jinping.
So I argue it would be unlawful to get rid of our cash society, the cash part of our society, to go for cashless society. It's criminal, and people don't want the government to control what they can and cannot spend their money on, and they want anonymity. So for us, there would be no benefits, and perhaps they'd give themselves tons of carbon credits, they have gold, and then they can leave the 15-minute cities that the rest of the people are locked up in. They can buy chocolates and cadavers, meat, and cancer oil, petroleum, cancer goes in gasoline and electricity and anything they want, and the rest of the people own nothing. They live in containers, compact container cities of Bill Gates. So they could basically declare martial law and then implement Executive Order 11,000, putting the American people in worker camps under federal supervision to build big, better Bill Gates' compact container cities, claiming that our houses are too big, etc. Though the people with the biggest carbon footprint and the biggest polluters make tons of money, the global population is suffering and annihilated, blamed for the things that they have done in the first place. For example, we see them fly to Davos in these, well, some call them adrenochrome, Gulfstream jets. The same type that were also used by Epstein island goers that are listed on the Epstein flight logs we see out there. And that has a 14 times bigger carbon footprint than normal passenger jets. And plus, they don't even need to go there, they can use video conferencing. So they're not concerned with the environment and they have the biggest carbon footprint themselves. So perhaps in the end they will eat the elite. Who knows what will happen? They have more meat than babies, that's for sure.
It might be, okay? But again, could it be an authentic Russian or China hacker? Yes. I think it's actually more likely that it's a team that's part of the West. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. It just seems to be the consistency here. Now, I'm going to stop going. This is 1:20. This is their video. Listen closely. There are subtitles in Russian and it's English dubbed. Here we go. Actually, it might have been October. September or October 2023. 2023, it says. So a couple reminders that were covered on previous podcasts that are important to note with this. Let's see here. So we know that is it Christine Lagarde, who's the head of the ECB? She was pranked and she confirmed on camera. We played the video on a previous podcast. Sorry, I have to keep saying that. That CBDCs for the European Union will be rolled out in September of this year. Actually, it might have been October. September or October 2023. We also have a podcast episode that covered the interest rates going from LIBOR to SOFR, which is changing the whole system on who makes the rules for interest rates, whether it's in London or it's going to be the Fed, like, in the United States. That's switching on June 30th, which is right when Fed Now comes out, which is July 1st. So that's also happening in 2 weeks. So you have to
So we should all boycott CBDC, central bank digital currency, boycotts the vaccine passport, several ties with the genocidal WHO, and basically go against everything they've planned for us all, plans for everyone. All these things that negatively impact our health, our freedoms, and our future must be prevented, so they're not allowed to benefit themselves from the pandemics at the cost of the global population, or pandemics. And the cyber pandemic may be next, of course. And one thing that indicates for me that it's a cyber pandemic, not a cyber pandemic, is that Joe Biden already announced it, and they have done nothing to make it impossible, which is easy to do if indeed they're going to use Intel Management Engine, the hardware backdoor, like I've explained. And I think there is no other way to do it. So there is no software that can protect your PC that you can install on Windows. You'd have to take out the Intel Management Engine, the hardware backdoor, wherewith they can do more stuff with your PC than you can do yourself, basically.
the whole monetary system to new interest rates that are actually different, okay, and higher, I believe. So that's a mess. So, a lot of things that, we don't know how well and how smooth it's going to go in the next 2 weeks. So this makes a lot of sense to bring down the system now. It's all stuff we have said. So this is not a surprise. Now, do I truly think the European financial system is going to go down in 48 hours? I don't. This one to me seems like it's too perfectly aligned with everything we've reported. This would just be like peak clown world, like mask off, like straight up. Okay, we don't care that that we know, and we know that that we're lying, and it just doesn't matter. We're just going to do it. I mean, this would be the peak if in 48 hours this comes through and there's like a financial collapse. All right, this would just be nuts. So no, I don't. But if it does, I suggest you go back and listen to those other episodes, because then stuff that we've predicted recently that will happen in 6, 9, 12 months, you might want to get ahead of the ball here, all right? Because this is really going for broke here. This is awesome. It's not awesome. It's very bad, but we'll see what happens. So that's real. That is being reported to you in real time. Probably the first podcast to get you that type of information. So there were a couple other topics that I wanted to cover. So there was an article, or actually it was a
Okay, that may be a good idea, checking his other videos on Jonathan Kogan's channel. So I can put the link in the description. Thanks for uploading this. There aren't that many people covering this stuff. Yeah, and I think that's it for this broadcast. So I'll switch back to the outro image. So yeah, why do I call Professor Schwab Professor Clown Schwab? There are several reasons, but basically it's clear they're pursuing you will own nothing and you'll be happy. A corporate fascist, satanic Luciferian, totalitarian New World Order, and all these book quotes about population reduction, and also the demolished, bombed Georgia Guidestones and the Kogan Club memo that I've covered in previous broadcasts make clear that that's their main goal. So basically cutting off the people from food, energy, money and armory is what they want to do first to be able to reduce the global population. Some say that more than 100 million people are not sustainable. 500 million was the number on the illegal Georgia Guidestones that incited to commit genocide, you could argue, because they advocated maintaining the population below 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, though men, humans, are nature itself, they are natural organisms. So we're not overpopulated. We can have 4 AIs. One works on creating a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. One AI focuses on controlling all factors that control aging, achieving negligible senescence. One is a matter transformer generator to transform any type of energy. Everything is energy, including the staple, etc. Air molecules, any type of energy into any other type of energy, matter transformer. And the fourth one is a way to sterilize everybody so that people can still have orgasms but they cannot reproduce anymore. And preferably that has to be something that also makes people healthier physically. And it must also be reversible so that people can be selected for reproduction, because people will keep on dying from accidents and other causes, natural disasters, etc. So then, even though we've achieved immortality, we must have a way to reproduce again to a certain extent. But that's measures to prevent becoming overpopulated once we've achieved immortality. Some people might think we're close to that, but it's possible that CRISPR and other gene drive mass extinction technology cannot be used, because then people are skipping millions of years of evolution. So one of my theories about that is that they'd have to mimic evolution, create organisms that can be formed by evolution. There are eternal underwater organisms, fish and anemones perhaps, so people can check that as well. And it's good to keep on working on achieving negligible senescence, control aging, and once we master channeling the energy, we become almighty with the AI, almighty, all-knowing, omniscient to a certain extent. I think, well, perhaps we'll never become almighty. There are many things that are simply impossible, but because everything is energy, theoretically they are possible. So that we don't know how to do it yet doesn't mean that we won't be able to do it in our future. The AI can do things that resemble magic, reality manipulation, time travel, levitation, becoming invisible by bending light around objects, and teleportation. We've seen that strange spiral in Norway. What is that thing? Is it a time travel portal? I've covered it in previous broadcasts. Perhaps it would be fun to show that in this one as well. And the DeSantis bill key points are worth studying. I was also working on a video about it. Well, I'm looking for the spiral in Norway.
Ron DeSantis prescribed freedom bill protecting Floridians from the biomedical security state. Permanent protections against a biomedical security state. Permanently prohibits COVID-19 mask requirements throughout the state. Permanently prohibits COVID-19 vaccine and mask requirements in all schools. Permanently prohibits COVID-19 vaccine passports in Florida. Permanently prohibits employers from hiring or firing based on mRNA jabs. Protecting medical freedom of choice. Prohibits discrimination based on COVID-19 vaccine status. Removes two-tiered test and mask discrimination. Protecting medical freedom of speech. Protects medical professionals' freedom of speech. Protects the right to disagree with the preferred narrative of the medical community. Protects the religious views of medical professionals. To penetrate the cabinets. Media has met in it like medical medicine. Medina consumed, armed, exhumed, premeditated.
So that's the spiral I was referring to. An Einstein-Rosen bridge. Theoretical tunnel-like, blah blah. So, back to the subject at hand. Yeah, so one is preventing it, and if we can do that, we have to take steps to survive it, to minimize the damages, save the maximum number of human lives, and create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. May peace travel with you all, wherever you may travel. Preventing beats curing. Primum non nocere secundum cave tertium sanare. Above all, do no harm. Secondly, do nothing, be very careful. And third, cure or heal the patient. And to cure the patient, we have to treat the cause rather than fight the symptoms with chemical, thus cancer risk increasing drugs, prescription drugs. Alright, so I don't know how to add the other EQ'd mic to this audio mixer thing. Perhaps I can work on that now. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And tell everybody to withdraw their savings. It might be gone tomorrow. And then it's better if they have some storable food, even if the government would confiscate it, so that we have storable food for that type of situation. And otherwise, who knows what would happen. So prep, survival is all. Universal peace now. And become resistant to death, our common enemy, for universal peace.